Hi, welcome to my video on solving a system of equations algebraically and geometrically. We have a system of equations, and one is x times y equals 5, and the other one is y equals x squared minus 4x plus 8. Y equals 5 is a hyperbola, so that's, we just did a video on those. And this is a parabola, and because it's positive, this is a parabola that opens upward. So let's solve algebraically. Let's take this and call it equation 1, and I call this one equation 2. So let's take equation 1, which is x, y equals 5. Let's divide by x, because we like to solve it for y. So y equals 5 over x. So let's take equation 2. So we have equation 1 solved for y. So let's write down equation 2. And because y equals this trinomial and y equals 5 over x, let's sub 5 over x in the place of y. And that's done. Let's put over 1. So we have two fractions equal. Let's cross multiply. So x times x squared minus 4x plus 8 equals, and 5 times 1 is 5. So we get x cubed minus 4x squared plus 8x. We could say equal 5, but I'm going to bring the 5 to the left side, make it negative. Now we have a cubic equation, and a cubic equation has 3 roots. So we have to know the unit on solving polynomials, and every cubic equation has 3 roots, and at least one of them is real. So I want to solve this one, so I look at it and say, what are the possible roots here? So I look up one of the ways that I do it to see if x is common. No, x is not in the 5, so it's not common. Then I add up my coefficients. So 1 plus 8 is 9, negative 4 and negative 5 is negative 9, so the sum of the coefficients is 0, so that means 1 is a root. So if I take 1 as a root and do synthetic division on, that's 1, negative 4, 8, negative 5, bring down your 1, draw this line, multiply, 1 times 1 is 1, add, negative 3, 1 times negative 3 is a negative 3, add 5, 1 times 5 is 5, and you add, you get a 0. That means that this number here, that's the remainder. So since the remainder is 0, 1 is a root. So we have one root. That means we have x. This is a depressed equation. This is a cube, square, linear, constant. So this is x squared minus 3x plus 5. So this is a depressed equation. So we have a quadratic. So before I decide to factor this quadratic, what factors of 5 will give me a 3? Then there aren't any good factors of 5, like 5 and 1. So what we do, we check the discriminant. The discriminant is b squared minus 4ac. So b is negative 3. A is 1. C is 5. So that gives us a 9 minus 20, which is a negative 11. So if your discriminant is a negative 11, that's underneath the root in the quadratic formula. That means that these two roots here are going to be imaginary. So if they're imaginary roots, there's only one real root. So x equals 1 is a real root where this hyperbola and the parabola intersect. So if x is 1, we can sub it into the equation. Let's sub that into x times y equals 5. X is 1, so we got 1 times y equals 5. So y is 5. So this hyperbola and the parabola will intersect at the point 1, 5. So that's the answer algebraically. But what about if we wanted to show that geometry? Now, solving a geometry is not good because it might not hit on the points that we want. They might be irrational numbers and fractions and we can't find them. But let's see what happens here. We have the equation, number one equation, which is xy equals 5. We divide it by x and we got y equals 5 over x. Now this is the hyperbola. So what happens, we know that x cannot be 0 and y can't be 0. Because if x is 0, you won't get a 5. If y is 0, you won't get a 5. So that means the x equals 0 is a vertical asymptote. So that means it's, I'm going to put a dotted line here. So this is x equals 5 as a vertical asymptote. Y equals 0 is a horizontal asymptote. So that means this graph will not cut through the y-axis or the x-axis. So if we do a little table of values just to see what quadrants they're in, let's go x and y. Let's go with, if x is 1, y is 5. If x is 1, y is 5. That's right there. If x is 5, y is 1. So if x is 5, y is 1. So this is a hyperbola. So the hyperbola will swing this way, like this. Okay, and now we also have the hyperbola. So notice x and y are multiplied to give you a 5. So that means x and y has to be 2 pluses or 2 minuses. So if x is a negative 1, then 5 divided by negative 1 is a negative 5. And if x is a negative 5, y is negative 1. So negative 1 will give you a negative 5. And a negative 5 will give you a negative 1. So this hyperbola swings like this. Now we got to find out where the parabola intersects this hyperbola. And again, it's at the point we know, because we did the algebra, is going to be 1 comma 5. But let's take the parabola, which is the number 2 equation. So there's 2 ways that I can find this, graph this parabola. One is I can complete the square. So y equals x minus 4x. Move the 8 over. Half of negative 4 is negative 2 squared is 4. So to balance that out, because on the same side, I'll put a negative 4. So that means I've made a perfect square trinomial here. And the factorization is x squared is x. And half of negative 4 is negative 2. So that's x minus 2 squared. That's the factorization of this perfect square trinomial, plus 4. So this parabola got a vertex of x is 2 and y is 4. So when x is 2, y is 4. And if you think about it, we have a parabola of 2, x is 2, y is 4. So that's right there. And we know that the parabola goes up. So if we take a little table of values and x and y, so if we put the vertex of 2, 4 in the middle, and we go one number to the right of x and one number to the left of x. So let's take 3 and put it in right here. 3 minus 2 is 1. 1 squared is 1. 4 plus 1 is 5. And we put a 1 in. 1 subtract 2 is negative 1. Negative 1 squared is 1. 1 plus 4 is 5. So a 1 gives me a 5, and a 3 gives me a 5. So notice that the parabola is opening upward. There it is, like this. And you can see that this is the point of intersection. So it intersects at 1 comma 5. So I just wanted to solve a system of equations and do the graphing of the 2 equations and show you that algebraically you can get the answer, which is the better way to do it algebraically. Graphing is not a good way, but it's showing you that they intersect at one point here is okay, but always solve a system of equations algebraically. So that ends the video, and if you like it, click on the like button, click on the subscribe button if you want to be a subscriber to my channel, and visit my math website, www.mathfullyexplained.com, to find more information about me, my videos, and the content. That's the content on my YouTube channel called Math Fully Explained. just one word. Thank you for viewing my video. Hope the video helped you. Bye-bye.